Hi, and welcome to episode 152 of the Mike White's podcast. I'm Jack, as always, joined by Casey.
Now
Get it out the way in a week where everyone is arguing on Twitter about Jesse Marsh's style. The alternate Simpsons-based title is MWP 152. You're both wrong, with a Mo Sizlak experience featuring Homer. That's the main sort of topic of discussion throughout the fan base all week. And it pretty much comes down to, was that pragmatic or was it just shit?
Yes. It's amazing how much we seem to have given up the ability to pass the ball for the ability to defend. Because, my God, our defenders can sort of defend now, which is so much more than we could defend before. It is amazing the impact that Liam Cooper's return has had.
Yeah,
they are so amazed that he's back that we have lost the ability to pass to our own team.
Yeah, some of the this Palace game, obviously it was 0-0. You'll have all seen it. We probably won't say much about the game itself because, Meslier made a couple of good saves. Gallagher had a decent shot over. Zaha had one deflected over. Cooper headed from a corner straight at the keeper. Weak Gellert effort straight at the keeper. That's everything that happened in the entire game. And Dan James put in one bad tackle. It was a god-awful game of football, but in the situation we're in, is that necessarily a bad thing?
No, they've got quite a good home record. They've got results against decent teams there. I know it was fortuitous somewhat last season, but they did beat us 4-1 there as well last year. And especially once you factor in our performance, I'll take the point.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to take the point because as much as it wasn't a good game and Palace weren't particularly good either, they were better than us by a fair distance, to be fair to them.
Yeah, I thought we really struggled to get any foothold in the game. There was every now and again where we'd connect 4 passes and you think, oh, bloody hell. But outside of that, there were times when you were watching Rodrigo sort of drop into an almost Calvin Phillips position to pick up possession. We don't do a great job of retaining the ball up front anyway, but when you take the most skilled of the 2 attackers out of there, and also the taller of the 2 as well, and I'm not saying Rodrigo's a taller. Yeah. And then you think, well, best get this long down the middle at Little Dan.
Yeah, I must admit, I do think that was the main difference with us going forward because our passing percentage was dreadful against Watford as well. I don't actually know what it was for Palace, but it must have been worse. It just must have been. I can't believe how bad some of the passing was. But I think that was the difference. In the last few games where we've been getting these good results, even when it wasn't good, there was plenty of bits that weren't good, but Rodrigo played well in all those games. And in this one, and it's not a dig by any means, if you're a forward player and you have one bad game after 4 good ones, that's fine. But he had a poor game, and he has been the one sort of linking it together.
Just looking here, and I don't know how reliable Google is for these, but the pass accuracy apparently was 75% Palace, 69% for Leeds.
I don't know exactly what it was, but I've seen articles, things on Twitter, and other podcasts all say lower numbers than that. So I think it
felt like a lower number than that.
And I bet if you take out Meslier to centre-back and centre-backs to full-back and vice versa, I bet it was like 40. It was awful. It was a good one to watch in the pub because it meant we were able to have a laugh while not having to be quite as nervous as we normally would be watching a game. There's so little to take out of it. Calvin Phillips got 90 minutes. How do you think he looked?
He was there. it's not the Calvin Phillips role that we knew and loved. I don't know if that's because Click is now playing a bit deeper as well, or if it's just because the idea is that we we're looking to play more centrally, so there is no there's not Rafinha or Harrison on the touchline with him looking to sort of ping a 40-yard ball across to them. But yeah, it wasn't Philip, it wasn't Calvin as we remember him.
No, I mean, obviously it was the first full 90 minutes back, so he won't be back at his best yet, but it just, I thought through the whole midfield, like obviously Click got taken off quite early. I don't think Click did it particularly wrong, he just didn't do much, but then Koch came on and did the same. I just think I think he, short of putting an actual world-class player in there, I think in that performance anyone would have looked the same.
Yeah. The one thing we did say is Palace have got decent attacking players. I think we were quite relieved to see it as sort of a 4-2-3-1 with Mateta up front, Ayew out wide, which was kind of good news.
Yeah, because we both said in the preview that because he was back fit, we assumed Elise was going to come in for Ayew. And I did see I don't remember the exact number, but in the 20 minutes that it was on the pitch, Ayew created the most chances of anyone on the pitch. And not just for that 20 minutes. Did I say Ayew then?
You did.
Sorry. Yeah, but yeah, when Elise came on, he created more chances in 20 minutes than anyone else did in 90.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the first thing he did was go straight past Stuart Dallas at one point. But in terms of the chances they created, there's the main one that you think was well done by Leeds to deal with was the cross for Mateta that Llorente managed to get a touch on.
Yeah, that was one of those. That's the thing. That's the side of Llorente's game that everyone likes. Because he does have it in him to do it, because he don't really give up on things. Like he threw himself into that, and just that little touch, it was as good as a goal, that touch. Because it was a goal if he didn't get there.
Yeah, it takes it onto Mateta's shin then and goes wide, and it's a goal-saving challenge, like you say.
I still think overall with the other things he does and the way that he gets players into trouble and stuff, I still personally would rather play Robin Koch there than Llorente. But I think it's because sort of if the bottom end of Koch's game is better than the bottom end of Llorente's, but I think the top end of Llorente's is higher than the top end of Koch's. It's more a variance thing, and at this stage I want the more solid one, I think. But it's sort of a judgment call. It's whoever you fancy, but personally, I'd rather play Robin Koch, I think.
I mean, after last time, I can't say anything, but I think referring to him as the more solid one is dicey ground.
It's not as bad as what you said, mate. Nothing will be. The other thing that I did want to say, because obviously you mentioned Dallas getting skimmed by Elise when he came on. I thought Luke Ayling did very well up against Zaha. And I know Zaha got a few good chances away, but he's going to get beat.
Yeah.
He did well to stand up to it, I thought.
I mean, I don't know what game we were watching. I've heard that Luke Ayling was assaulting Wilfried Zaha at every opportunity.
Yeah. You know what I'll give him? I'm relatively good at being fair. Them saying he should have picked up a yellow card at some point for persistent fouling. Yeah, that's probably fair enough.
Yeah.
But I have heard Palace fans saying that, he could have got sent off twice. For what? He barely made it. Now, today was the first time I saw a Palace fan kicking off about Dan James's tackle, which is the one thing that it would have been fair enough to kick off about.
Yeah, that was funny. Yeah. It's just about that Dan James just has that casual walk away, and Joe Ward's like, "Oh no."
Yeah, no, he wasn't happy, but fair enough. That was one thing that was disappointing. Obviously, them having Joe Ward at left back, and us not being able to really do anything against him. Couldn't get the ball to Rafinha, and I know that he comes inside now, But you would think he'd just end up drifting onto him a couple of times during the game, and it just never happened.
Yeah, it's
because he would have the beating of him.
I think it is one of the frustrations in that I know that there was a lot you could be critical about Bielsa's team by the time he left, but they are two. Certainly, Rafinha and Harrison are two players that I think are very well suited to get making the pitch as wide as possible. Harrison has the ability to go, probably more so than Rafinha has the ability to go inside or out, but I think it suits Rafinha to get the ball on the touchline and work his way in from there.
You see, before I saw the last few weeks, I would have said the opposite. Before the last few weeks, I'd have said Harrison's the one that I don't rate coming inside, but he's actually taken to it pretty well.
I think he's probably more two-footed than Rafinha.
He certainly seems to be more two-footed than he looks. Because he doesn't he plays a lot like he's incredibly one-footed, but he isn't.
Yeah, it's one of the things I know over recent weeks people have still been able to have the criticism of Jack Harrison's performances despite him getting goals. Whereas I thought Monday night, it very rarely got on the ball.
Oh no, you could have easily forgotten he was there. It was...
And I don't think that's a criticism of him, because I think you could say the same about outside of his challenge. There wasn't a lot for Dan James to work with. When we made the changes, it was the same for Gelhardt and Greenwood.
Yeah, it was just we were toothless in this game completely. The only other tactical thing that's probably worth bringing up is we got to see Rafinha taking long throws.
I would argue we didn't.
Okay, sorry, attempting to take long throws. The one that worked because it was so short that the defenders were nowhere near it. Jesse Mouse had his press conference today and said they did them in training and his were the best ones. Well, if his are the best ones, Jesse, don't fucking use long throws. If you haven't got anyone that can take them, that's fine. Just don't use them.
It was just funny because you were just looking at these attacking areas and going, all right, Rafinha's taking a throw in. It's an odd one because he'd sort of be the play you'd probably be playing a 1-2 off of, and then looking to get him back on the ball. And then you see him stepping back and thinking, sorry, has he got a long throw none of us have seen yet? No, he hasn't. Yeah. He's got, I'm going to call it a mediocre throw-in.
Yeah. So the first one sort of half led to something, but it's because the flick on was so far back up the pitch that you just couldn't, the defenders couldn't get there because it was so short and they'd set themselves 15 yards further back than that.
Yeah.
Just 1 second. Is that thing on answer? Oh, okay.
Sorry, we're live, pal.
Sorry, it's people don't mind, and it's not like it's going to be edited out. My daughter had fallen asleep, and we were thinking about trying to get her into bed, but she's woke up because obviously we're talking. That was probably
I'm not there.
Yeah, that was probably the only tactical thing. But the way that he was talking about it, it sounds like he's going to try and keep it going.
Good luck.
Yeah.
I really hope something comes from it.
The other bit of news out of that press conference that we should probably mention just while we're on the subject, everyone was very surprised at Somerville not being on the bench against Palace. It's because he's out for the season.
Yay.
Ankle injury. Yay. So he'd done really well, played great in the under-23s, bumped himself up the order a little bit, and now he's out. And also, the 23s are probably going to get relegated because Chelsea under-23s won their game in hand. And now, for the one game they've got left, our under-23s aren't going to have Somerville. And I believe it's Arsenal away anyway, which would be difficult. And I think it's close to a first-team game, so they won't have Somerville or Gelhardt or Greenwood or probably Cresswell. Or So, yeah, that's probably trouble.
That's a shame. Although, the dickhead in me is just thinking, oh, well, you must be trading him to Somerville's injured, Forshaw's injured.
Yeah. Yeah, fractured kneecap and knackering your ankle doesn't really seem like the same sort of injury, does it? And obviously, there's still no Forshaw or Bamford. Although he did say Bamford should be back on the grass next week. How fit that means he'll be, I don't know.
I did find it odd reading that he'd said Forshaw's doing well, still out for the season. I was like, doesn't seem like an indication that he's doing well. Not
Well,
that I was
suppose...
expecting any turnaround in that, but I probably would have just left it. There is no change in Forshaw. He's still out for the season. He'll rock up for the final day with a Paddy headband on or something.
Yeah. It's a bit of a weird one now because obviously we will talk about Leeds game and how terrifying it is, but we've sort of got a couple of other games to talk about. So before the Leeds game, and I think that this is much more a factor in determining our mood on Saturday than the Leeds game itself is. Saturday, 3:00, Watford v Burnley.
Ugh.
I mean,
please, Watford.
Come on, Watford.
I know you've got a dreadful home record, but please.
When we beat them, was that they'd lost 9 in a row?
Yes.
At home. Have they lost another one since then at home?
I don't know if it was at home. I'm just having a look now.
I mean, they are god awful.
They've lost at home to Brentford as well.
Oh yeah, Janssen, like 95th minute. So yeah,
they nearly won that game as well.
To be honest, having seen the highlights, if I remember rightly, and it is a while ago, so I could be wrong, but they should have done.
Yeah, that was the loser chance. It just somehow slices it in about the 93rd minute.
Yeah, it's a bit of a weird one because, but don't get me wrong, they're not Man City by any stretch in the style of play, but Burnley have been a little bit more capable of keeping the ball on the floor and passing it and actually taking the game to the opposition since the sacked Dyche. Which for this game, Watford will sit in. So in theory, that helps them. But the one thing that, even though they've lost all the games, the one thing that I think looks decent with Watford is the counter-attack. They had like 3 good chances at Anfield. They had a couple against us. They scored a couple of goals against Arsenal, and all of them were counter-attacks. So I'm wondering if the style of play they're doing now might give Watford a slightly better chance.
I hope so. I really hope so. I don't think it will, but it would be fantastic timing if Watford dug out a win, which would put them only only 6 points away from safety then. Yeah,
because they're not dead, and them and Norwich are technically not dead, even though they are.
Yeah.
Put it this way, you now cannot bet on them to go down.
No, Watford have also lost 4 in a row.
Yeah. But like, if they could at least get something from that game. And the one where that you would, in theory, say that we have a better chance of the result going our way is on Sunday, 2:00, Everton-Chelsea. I think this has got Chelsea dobbing one in against them and just not playing well at all, written all over it.
Yeah, for as poor as Everton have been, they seem to have picked up results against. I'd say results against teams. They beat Scum, who let us down.
I watched that game. Everton deserved to win. Like, Man United were god awful.
Yeah.
And then they were against Arsenal as well.
Yeah, beat Newcastle, which I think at that point was frustrating more because I'm trying to think actually of that one. I think it was the first time because they played them a few weeks before when Newcastle won. That was back in February. We're like, we could still catch them. No. But I'm really hoping that this talk of the spirit in the Everton squad, it shows they're up for a fight. It's like, no, you say that. They put 11 men behind the ball, were trying to shithouse their way to a point because there was very little in the way of attempts other than give it to Anthony Gordon and hope he can get near the penalty area.
What I would say is genuinely, and I mean this, from a defensive point of view, it's the best I've ever seen Frank Lampard set a team up. It's not saying much. He's really bad at setting the defence up. But I think that was about the best he's ever done it.
Yeah, it's... I've just got the stats up for the game. And again, this is the ones on Google, so take it with a pinch of salt. But Liverpool completed 787 passes to Everton's 173. And Everton's passing accuracy was 54%.
173 sounds high. And I ain't even slagging him. It was the job that he was told to do. But was it Allen completed one pass and it was a kickoff?
I think, was it one or was it two kickoffs?
Yeah, it was just one. It was just one of them ridiculous things. But again, that's not his fault.
Because again, the first thing you looked at was like, wait, why is he taking kickoff? That seems odd. But I think if I remember rightly, at the start of the second half, they loaded the left-hand side of the pitch with players. I was like, all right.
Well, they'd have to go down the left because that's where Anthony Gordon was.
Yeah.
And who was by a mile their standout player. The other thing is that Everton have been off on one again. You know, last time when they got their official apology from the PGMOL, and everyone did take the piss because it is whinging management and you don't really want to see it. But what I would say is that Rodri handball for that. I mean, it was absolutely blatant handball. It definitely should have been a penalty. This one maybe should have been a penalty. Maybe not. It is definitely not a cut and dry decision. This one,
I would say it's in the bracket of you've seen them given.
Yeah,
like I don't think obviously VAR didn't overturn it, and I think if it had been given, it probably wouldn't have been overturned. But
I mean, to be fair, we didn't mention it, but there was one of them in the Leeds game. I thought that one where Llorente slid in ass first for that tackle.
It's the oddest technique I've seen for someone sliding in.
He did sort of go through back of him. If that would have been given as a penalty on the pitch, it wouldn't have got overturned. And because it wasn't given on the pitch, it wasn't overturned for that either. But, there's decisions like that every week. And Everton, a lot of time now when you look at it, and I know it's because they're in such a dire situation. I mean, we're in a dire situation and theirs is worse at the minute. You are going to be pissed off and you probably are going to ramp everything up to 1,000. But they are acting like it's the worst decision that's ever been given, and it really wasn't. It was a bit of a 50-50 shout.
Yeah. Just like you say.
Put it this way, the Dan James one at St James's Park was a far, far, far worse decision.
Nah, I never understood the idea of the official apology. Because surely you'd just be there all weekend issuing apologies for decisions that weren't given. Yeah. All this has done for me is prove that as much technology we have in the game, we're still not getting it right.
No.
So why bother with the tech?
And that Frank Lampard is still a massive twat.
Yeah.
So before we get on to us, Watford Burnley, what do you reckon?
I can't see Watford winning.
I mean,
that's not the pessimist in me. That's the realist in me. Is looking at that thinking, no, there's no way Watford are winning this. I really hope their front line can do a job on them. But
you can get 17-10 on Burnley, and that'll be where my fiver's going. I'm going to say 2-0 Burnley. And that is partly pessimism, but it's also, I just think Watford are shit, and Burnley right now aren't shit.
Yeah.
And then Everton, Chelsea.
Now, the pessimist in me really feels like Chelsea are going to...
Also, I'll just say right now, you can get 4-1 on Everton if you shop around. I'll probably have a 5 on that as well.
I mean, Chelsea probably... they've got a game in hand over Arsenal and Spurs, but they could probably do with getting the win.
If they win this, you'd say they're absolutely safe top 4.
Yeah, So
they'd be 8 point. They'd be 10 points clear of 5th.
Are they playing tonight as well?
Yeah. That's one of the reasons why I'm heading straight to the pub after this.
Thursday night football.
Yeah, so it's them and Scum, isn't it?
Yeah, again, that's not what you want to see.
We could sort of do with Scum at least getting a point, just so Chelsea don't switch off at the weekend.
Yeah.
Uh,
I don't like this world.
No, I think I'm going to go one apiece for this, and yeah, that is my pessimism talking. But I also just feel like Everton are going to get something.
No, I'm going to be optimistic, and I'm going to say Pulisic gets a hat trick. 3-0.
That's really optimistic. At least I get to bring back my favourite question of the season. Saturday, 5:30, Man City at home. Are we fucked?
Yep.
Did you watch Manchester City 3? Man City 4, Real Madrid 3. I did the 4-5-4 East 5-5 thing.
Yeah, I mean, Christ, if they could open up Real Madrid that quickly, it does beg the question: what hope do we have?
There was a point in this game just before Benzema pulled it back to 2-1, where Man City could have been 4 up already.
They're so good.
What
I really could have done without as well is last weekend, Gabriel Jesus having gone, 14 games without a goal or something like that, and getting 4.
Gabriel Jesus has taken being linked with Arsenal personally, and he's now the most informed player in the league. Yeah, they're just brilliant, aren't they? Like, there's no way that. I mean, yeah, all the players cost 50 million apiece, but so do Scums, and they're not brilliant.
Yeah, but these ones are well organised.
Well organised and well coached, and have been scouted in an intelligent way for how they'll fit into the squad.
Yeah, and even the strikers, even though it's an almost strikerless team, it's still very fluid, and there's just goals that come from everywhere.
Yeah. It's not worth going through player by player, but who scares you the most?
Honestly, you know what? There's 2 people that scare me. Nathan Ake, headbanger Marsh.
If you can get through them, you might just win the Royal Rumble.
Sorry, Nathan Ake. I do rate you as well. Honestly, it's the fact that you look at their front line where they can go with Jesus, Sterling, Grealish, and then you've still got the threat coming from deep of Gundogan, who, if he fancies, might get in on the goals, and De Bruyne just turning up wherever he feels like it.
Yeah, De Bruyne, who still, for my money, he's not having. It's not this season. I said it a couple of years ago. I think he's probably like the second best player in the world, Kevin De Bruyne. It's a tight one up at the top where there's a lot of really great ones. Like Benzema probably has to be up there now.
I mean, the saving grace of us playing them now is that they might have to rest a few players because they've got Real Madrid again after us. But
when Man City rest players, does it matter?
But when you have a squad that good, yeah, I'm just looking around and you look at that squad and you basically go, so who are the backups here? They're all good.
And let's say they drop their first choice centre backs, so it becomes Stones and Ake would be the backups.
Yeah.
Cancelo was suspended for the first leg against Real Madrid, so he'll play, and he's unbelievable. So the one thing that they didn't have against Real Madrid was they didn't have any right backs because they were all injured or suspended. So, but Cancelo's back for this. So Zinchenko will play left back probably, who's really good.
You look at that team, and I know the team they put out against Watford. What was it? It was De Bruyne, Rodri, and Fernandinho as the 3 as your sort of central midfielders. And I don't know how you compete with that.
Yeah.
When you could just go, yeah, we can take any of these out and just put another one in.
Yeah, well, think of the front line you just mentioned and the 2 midfielders behind, and you never said Bernardo Silva or Phil Foden.
Yeah.
You know, it is a ridiculous squad full of world-class players. There's no real, you know, what are we going to do? Well, we're going to play narrow. We're going to try and keep it tight. We're going to knock the ball long. And we're basically going to hope we can shithouse something out of this game.
At what point do we start playing Charlie Cresswell up front?
None, because we won't be playing anyone up front. I think the team will probably be the same, but the things that there's arguments for and against. Does anyone replace Dallas at left back?
No,
because there's obviously Firpo is fit again, but I don't think that's sensible. I still have that thing in my head of playing Struijk in this one isn't the worst plan.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to bring someone back after an injury, Man City probably isn't the game to do it either.
No, I mean, yeah, but
I can't imagine his confidence levels are great.
I mean, who's going to be out on the right? It'll only be like one of Jesus or Bernardo Silva or Riyad Mahrez.
It could be Foden.
Or
could
Foden.
Be Sterling.
Or Sterling.
Why?
This is why genuinely it's so weird Leeds are playing on Saturday and Watford v Burnley is so much more important. Because there's just no way around it. Who do you think that it'll be Click and Phillips in front of the back four?
Yeah.
Or will he go Phillips and Koch to just basically sit there and don't move?
I feel like if you have Phillips and Koch, and to be honest, I don't know if it's just the system we're playing at the moment where it's almost a 4-2-2-2 with two holding mids at this point. But I do feel like it's certainly on Monday night it created a big gap between Phillips and Click and the wingers.
Yeah.
Wingers.
Yeah. Inside wide tens.
Yeah.
There is a thing that I was thinking of is that for this one, do you play sort of Dan James on the right and Harrison on the left? And, sit them quite deep and defend. But actually have two up top to clear the ball to and put Rodrigo and Rafinha up top. And just hope we can get it to them. And then those two have some talent. And then maybe, because they are good enough that if we can get them on the ball, they could do something against Man City's defence.
Yeah, it definitely has your two most defensively disciplined of your wide players in the positions they probably need to be in a game like that. I don't think it'll happen now that the plan is play for like Wimbledon, 10 yards at a time down the line until Rafinha can get it in the mixer.
I mean, the reason I think it'll be James is because obviously Man City's line in this game is likely their defensive line might be 10 yards inside our half at points in this game, and they will be thinking, and this is as good a chance as any for us in a game like this. They will be thinking maybe we can judge a long ball off at top and just have Dan James run onto it and miss. But basically, for this game, do we have any hope whatsoever of getting a result out of this?
I mean, you can't ever say no because last season we got a point at Ellen Road and we won at Man City.
Yeah.
Now, the main difference is that we had Alioski at that point, who I'm starting to believe was the catalyst for all things good.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think he might have been incredibly underrated now, and I'm saying that as someone who thought he had some dire performances last season.
I think he might have just been magic. I don't actually think it was better than we remember. I just think it might have been, it was such an infectious personality that made people happy. I don't think it was his ability.
I mean, I'm judging on the talk about Stuart Dallas having multiple injuries at the moment, but I don't think he's going to be breaking into their half to score a 90th minute winner at this point.
Yeah,
like he did last season. But
You don't often see Leeds 10-1 to win a home game, which is what we are.
Wow. That's worth a tenner.
Man City are 1-4. Obviously, there's no point having a pessimism bet on a 1-4 shot. It does no good whatsoever. If you were gonna have your pessimism bet, Man City -2 is 2-1, -3 is 5-1. I don't think any of them are worth it in terms of the way that it adds up. I mean,
it's
there is a
how lowly
chance
the bookies think of us.
it's
They're right, but still.
The bookies don't think much of us. More importantly, they think a real lot of Man City, which is fair.
I mean, that's the unfortunate thing playing them now is that they have to win every game.
Yeah, because Liverpool will.
Yeah.
It's as I say, if we were 13th in the league, I would be going to the game on Saturday and sitting there thinking, I'm genuinely just going to sit here and watch Man City and just try and enjoy how good this team is. If we get something brilliant, but I ain't worrying about it. The problem is in the situation we're in, even a game like there are no free hits in the situation we're in.
No.
You can think we've got no chance, but we can't treat it in that way.
No, and unfortunately, if and when Burnley get a result on Saturday, they will go above us.
You will see it with the you'll see it with the atmosphere in the ground. I think if Watford manage to win, the atmosphere will be fantastic because everyone will be like, "Great, no one's getting they're not getting closer to us at least," and that'll put everyone in a good mood. If they win, everyone's going to be shitting themselves.
Yeah. Do you remember like 4 weeks ago when we thought, right, we're safe now?
I very, very, very pointedly and very publicly disagreed with you when you said words to that effect.
It all felt fine. It all felt
and
safe.
I did the same when people tweeted us. No, we're not. Now, I did think that like 35, 36 points would be enough. And I'm now looking at it and thinking, not so sure it will be. I think it might be like 38, 39 all of a sudden.
Yeah, we've gone back to the days of needing 40 points.
Yeah, it's a weird one
because
because
the safety mark.
I honestly think the teams at the bottom this year have been such a low standard. And I think it might end up being one of the higher points totals.
Yeah.
Which is a bit of a weird one.
I want to look at the fixtures for Villa at this point because they've
been in really bad form.
They've lost 4 and drawn 1 in their last 5. Now, admittedly, they have Norwich Saturday.
Yeah.
But they've got Burnley, Liverpool, Palace, Burnley, and Man City.
Right. I don't want them to get dragged into it then. If they're playing Burnley twice, fuck that. I hope that they batter them twice. Come on, Stevie G. Get some confidence against Norwich and then batter Burnley twice.
Yeah. I'm clutching at straws here for anything.
Yeah, well, clutching at straws is basically all we can do for this game, unfortunately. It's just one of them things.
We are literally the only team in the bottom half that is undefeated in the last 5.
Yeah, and we have got in worse and worse trouble while it happened.
How has that happened?
No, well, I mean, it is a ridiculous thing that you could honestly make an argument that we have took 11 points from 15. And our situation hasn't improved.
Yeah, I mean, looking at Burnley, because they've won 3 out of their 5 as well. It's just that they've won a point less than us.
Yeah, and it's because they had those games in hand, and that's when they went on the run.
Yeah, like I know. I think the difference is with them. I think they've got that form or enough form to make you question whether they'll to make it look like they can get results out of quite a few games. When I look at Everton's, it's more just the pessimism in me. Whereas I look at their run of results recently and think that they're not a good team. and they're not playing well.
No, I think that the problem with Everton is I think that they are bad. I've said a million times that I objectively think they have a bad manager, but they have got some good players who should be like Everton should not be in this situation.
No, I know they've had injuries, but
yeah, I mean they've missed Calvert-Lewin for like half the season, in the same way we've missed Bamford. You know, it is a big problem, but the squad they've still had 50 million quid's worth of Richarlison most of the season.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at the replacements we were having to make sort of December, January, February in that time compared to the replacements that Everton had at their disposal, it's night and day difference. Like, you know, ours were kids. They still have Premier League standard players there.
Yeah. For what it's worth, it's now Everton even money, Burnley 6-4, we're 4-1 to go down. But by how many will we go down on Saturday?
You know what? Fuck it. 1-1 draw.
God, if that happens, I will be the happiest. I genuinely, for at least 20 minutes, might be the happiest human on the planet if that happens. But no, I reckon we'll get beat 3-0. And I reckon that's because we'll defend deep. We'll probably, and I think we'll keep them out for like 20 minutes. And then they'll get one, and then they'll get another one before halftime. Contest will be over. They'll ease off like hell in the second half. And late on, Cole Palmer will come off the bench and get the third. I can't see out for it. We're not playing
Rory
well.
Delap will come back to shush the adults this time.
Yeah. Rory this time. They won't even bring on Liam. They'll just bring on Rory.
Yeah.
At least maybe he can teach Ravinha how to do long throws. So yeah, we'll know a lot more after. As always, we'll know more after the weekend. So we'll maybe Tuesday for the next one. Because it'll have to be after.
To any of it.
Yeah,
it'll have to be after weekend.
Yeah, we'd have to do it after the Everton game on Sunday, but on a Monday we pretty much always go out for a pint, don't we? So
yeah,
probably Tuesday.
Drinking by then.
Depending on how results go.
I think this might be a bad weekend to stop sniffing glue.
Yeah, it might be an excellent weekend to start.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that'll do us for episode 152 at Mighty White's podcast. We just have to, you know, if you are a religious person, pray, etc. If you're like me and you're not, just hope. Just hope. And just hope that Man City really, really are focused on going to the Bernabeu.
I've just got this image in my head of just this destroyed earth with just a precious flower poking out of the ground. And you're just thinking, that's the hope. And then just someone walking past and kicking the flower to death. Just go, no, you're not having anything nice.
It was such a beautiful description of Joe Gelhartley. Yeah, so that'll do us. I've been Jax here.
I've been Casey. Have a good one.